Our top focus this evening remains on Haryana, where the death toll today reached 7. It is day 3 since communal riots broke out in Mewat. Communal riots that the Chief Minister has called a conspiracy to destabilize the state ahead of elections. Ladies and gentlemen, more than conspiracy, it was complacency that led to these riots. The signs were all there. Social media had already lit the fire with provocative videos from both sides. The government should have been ready, not just with a force strong enough to deal with this violence, but with foresight to monitor social media and put in necessary curbs to stop hate speeches from spreading. By the end of it, they neither had the force nor the foresight. They didn't see Monu Manesar or Bittu Bajrangi or Mohammad Samar or their inflammatory rhetoric going viral on social media. They hadn't learnt any lessons from the past where social media has been used very effectively to fuel rumors and riots. Paris was the example in front of them. The videos going viral before the riots were a clear indication of what was to come. A video of cow vigilante Monu Manesar saying that he would be attending the yatra. Now, Monu Manesar is accused of killing 2 Muslim men in Bhiwani this February. He's still on the run. His video found resonance and a response in the Mewati Muslim community. We then see a group of youngsters led by a person called Mohammad Samar saying, "Come, we will see you in Mewat. Aao, dekhte hain tumhe." In fact, they had also warned the administration not to allow Monu Manesar in Mewat. Meanwhile, as all of this is happening, another cow vigilante's post is also going viral. Bittu Bajrangi. He shares a video showing him walk in a saffron attire, accompanied by a soundtrack featuring the lyrics, "Goli pe goli chalegi, baap to baap rahega." Just understand why we are not putting these videos out for you. They have the potential to flame passions. It's as simple as that. Now, when questioned about the viral video, the man had claimed that he was answering all those who had threatened him. To cut a long story short, the warning was in the air and in the airwaves. Once these riots broke out, they just spiraled out of control. Again, social media had a hand to play in that. As videos of rioting went viral, they activated copycat violence. Today, the government has registered an FIR against 3 influencers who they believe were behind fanning the fires in Mewat. Not just that, there are 20 hate handles that are under the scanner as well. The Haryana Chief Minister yesterday at a press conference had blamed social media as well for worsening the crisis in Mewat. Take a listen to what he had said.
हमारा खास करके सोशल मीडिया इसके कारण से भी आकार उसका बढ़ता है। तो मैं उन सोशल मीडिया के भी बंधुओं से, चाहे यूट्यूबर्स हैं, चाहे सोशल मीडिया में इंडिविजुअल भी लोग करते हैं, कहीं ट्वीट करते हैं, कहीं बाकी करते हैं, तो इन चीज़ों से बचने के लिए हमें संयम ज़रूर बरतना चाहिए। ये भी अपील आपके माध्यम से मैं करूँगा।
So today as we speak, there are many parts in Haryana where internet continues to be banned. In fact, there is no full internet in Manipur either. For 90 days now, there has been no internet in Manipur. Curbs have been lifted marginally, but the ban on mobile data continues. And as that continues, so does the violence. Rumors are flying free. Earlier, a video showing a handcuffed girl being savagely attacked and executed in the middle of a road by uniformed personnel was circulated on social media. It was claimed that a Christian girl was brutally murdered in broad daylight in Manipur. There were several leaders who circulated that video on social media, adding fuel to fire. Eventually, and the purpose of the video was very clear, to fan the flames in Manipur. Eventually, the truth came out. The video was not even from Manipur, it was from Myanmar. It had nothing to do with Christians, girls, or Indians, or what was going on in Manipur. The point I'm trying to make is that in times of a riot, social media can be a very dangerous thing. Why haven't we learned to police the social media in situations like this is the question. Now, this isn't the first time again. Manipur wasn't the first time, or Haryana isn't the first time. Rumor mongering has claimed lives in India and abroad. All of us remember the horrific incident of mob lynching in Maharashtra's Palghar, where two sadhus and their driver were killed by villagers on suspicions of them being child lifters. Before the incident took place, WhatsApp messages were doing the rounds that thieves are roaming in the city and that they will kidnap your children and harvest their organs. That had led to the incident. Imagine, when it comes to words and when it especially comes to WhatsApp messages, they really, really spread fast. The same thing, ladies and gentlemen, had happened in Jharkhand as well. Exactly the same thing. And people were killed then as well. So next time you're forwarding a forward, especially on WhatsApp, be very, very careful about what you're doing. It could get someone killed. You need to know that. And it's not just in India. Rumors have been spreading fast in other countries as well, fanning riots. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we saw Paris burn, we saw France burn. This after a teenager was shot dead by the police during a traffic stop. He was an Arab. Social media played a key role in the violence and the arson that had taken center stage for weeks on end. Not many of these protests were coordinated on these platforms. The algorithms also pushed hashtags that were linked to the rioting. Essentially, what social media does is it helps you mobilize people during times like this, and that's the last thing you want. It helps incite violence. That's the last thing you want in a situation like this. However, despite that, France did mull an internet ban, but finally didn't do it. In India, we often suspend internet to maintain law and order, eventually crippling everyday life of citizens. But this is a tough choice that governments and administrations have to make. You need to choose. Let me go across to my guests who are joining me this evening. I have Piyush Kulukshetra, who's founder and CEO of Khulke app. He's joining us live from Mumbai. Hi, thank you very much. We have Radhika Roy, who's an associate litigation counsel at the Internet Freedom Foundation, and we have Rambir Singh Sharma, who's a former IPS officer, Haryana cadre. Mr. Sharma, can I just come to you very quickly, namaskar, and ask you, policing has changed over a period of time, right? There is something called local intelligence units which are available at every police thana, and those local intelligence units come to you and tell you, sir, ye suna hai, this can happen, right? That is what their job is. In this case, we were already hearing a lot a week before the violence breaks out in Haryana. Social media is already inciting rumors and riots. Was it a big failure on the part of the Haryana police to ignore all these viral social media posts and their hate posts that were telling us which way the situation is going to go?
I agree, ma'am. It is a total failure of the police administration as well as the civil administrations. When these videos were viraling in the air, and it was in the knowledge of the administrations, as police as well as the civil, why the DCSP has not taken the preventive measure against all these rumors, mongers, or viral videos which were instigating the people of both sides? That is the main reason this communal rights started. And secondly, I must say this word also, there is a nexus between criminal and politicians. In this incident, the first, when the Monu who killed the Junaid and Nasir, and police was failed to arrest him for the last 5-6 months. Why? Secondly, I must say, why the Maman Khan, one of the MLA, he made statement in the Legislative Assembly, we will smash the Monu Manesar if he comes in my area, our area, like onion. How he can take the law in their hands? These are the nexus which we have to understand. And here the police administration and the CID or the intelligence, where was the inputs of the intelligence and CID? Why the police arrangement were so weak? They have not planned properly. Had there been inputs from the CID as well as the intelligence, these viral videos and rumors mongers are prevailing in the both society of Hindu and Muslim. And why the permission was given for yatra? What was the reason? When all these videos were with the police administration, why the permission was granted? If there is a permission was granted, then why the proper arrangement of the police was not taken? This is the total responsibility of the
sir,
police.
you are telling
and
us,
secondly, the politician.
You are telling us it was a grave mistake. Give me a minute here. Give me a minute here, Mr. Ranbir Singh. Just give me a minute here. What you're telling me is that it was a grave oversight on the part of the Haryana police to not take these viral videos seriously, to not take what was happening on social media seriously, because ultimately Mewat's fire began on social media. Piyush Kulakshetra, you are founder and CEO of Khulke app, which is going to be launched very shortly. I want to ask you, all right, the police failed. You know, they didn't understand how social media could ruin things for them, right? But the fact is that, you know, Twitter, Facebook, even WhatsApp, all of them have policies, right? If you see hate content, you're supposed to flag it. You're supposed to take it down. In France, it didn't happen. It didn't happen in Nu either.
Indeed. They didn't happen. You're absolutely correct. And I think governments will be well within their rights to pull up the managements of these various social media platforms that you just mentioned. Technically, we do have tools available where if specific keywords are used, or if the law and enforcement agencies point out, you know, a little while back, Ranveer Sharma ji was, you know, talking about, if the right flags are raised by the law enforcement agencies, then social media platforms do have the technical tools to take the corrective measures. There should be absolutely no doubt about it.
Piyush Kulakshetra, do you also find very little social responsibility on social media? You are a creature of that space. You are a creature of that ecosystem. Do you find that even people who are, look, I ask you this question on the context of the fact that there are 3 influencers from Haryana who have been booked today. There are FIRs against them. And these influencers are again being accused of spreading hate. That there is very little social, responsibility on social media. जिसके मन में जो आता है without cross checking बोल देते हैं. Anything hateful बढ़ा दो.
So, correct. So I think for this, you know, a bit of the mechanism of how social media essentially works, we need to understand. It is very difficult to understand what gets viral. Essentially, what gets viral is where people actually know each other, and there is a lot of offline coordination between people. When I say offline, essentially off another platform. So if something has to be viral on Twitter, there would be a lot of coordination happening on platforms like WhatsApp, etc. And this is how a trend, you know, essentially gets established. So social media company per se may not really know what will get viral as a piece of content. They can see a trend little early on, that something can get trended. As far as these 3 persons, you know, accused persons that you mentioned, you can be very sure that they already had a huge number of supporters, on-ground supporters, you know, who were working with them, and they were trying to spread their messages across. And specifically speaking, and again I'm going back to the comments, you know, made by the IPS officer, that it is these criminals, you know, who would be doing certain things, and there is very little. Social media is just a tool. Its greatest strength is that it can network people. The question is how you use the tool. for us, if you ask me, we are bringing Khulke app essentially, for something of this nature. We ourselves disagree with the way social media platforms have been used. You took a lot of examples, including of France. I would go back to the Arab Spring. And we know exactly what kind of social media platforms were amazed at their own capability of delivering the kind of violence that happened in Arab Spring. But we think if platforms have users to the tune of, say, 3 billion people, I mean, that's, India and China put together, with all sorts of heads of state, the whole society, from farmers to labor to peon and everybody in between together, I think the potential to create actual value and utility to the society is not being tapped. Rather, we find people are indulging in conversations that don't directly mean anything to them. And because they have no stake in those conversations, so like you have rightly said, there is no responsibility. When I have something, when I'm talking about a subject in which I have a personal stake, I'm always very responsible. Yes. So I am always very responsible whenever I have a subject to speak on, which has a direct relationship to me. Yes.
So here's the thing, fake news often spreads faster, in fact does spread faster than genuine news. That's the nature of social media. The question is, Radhika Roy, social media is large, right? Can it be argued that it is very difficult to control it? And if that is the argument, then can you blame the government of India for banning internet in Kashmir for 500 days and in Manipur for 90 days? What is the option you have? You have a situation to control. Social media will step in and only make things worse because, nothing positive ever gets achieved with social media. So you have no choice. Why blame the government and criticize the government for curbing the rights of citizens when social media will only end up killing those citizens, as we have seen in France, as we have seen in Haryana, as we have seen in Manipur as well?
So, ma'am, there are two things about this that I would want to address. So, before I go on to whether or not internet shutdowns should be implemented, I want to talk about whether using social media to spread rumors and false speech, it's a common ground which is employed when internet shutdown orders are issued. Now, if you see all the orders, you'll see that spreading of rumors and misinformation, they are mentioned in all of this because they say that violence is caused because of all of the spreading of the rumors. However, this is a misnomer and there is no proven correlation as such between shutting down the internet and because it actually helps, whether or not it actually helps in abating the violence. In fact, if that were the case, the violence in Manipur would have long receded because the shutdown had been ordered over there on May 3rd, if I remember correctly. Now, multiple studies have also been done which show that the violence fueled because of rumors whether it was even a thing before the inception of social media. For instance, if you remember, there were a lot of violence related to cow slaughtering even before WhatsApp or Facebook became a thing. Now, the harms of clamping down on the internet are far higher than the harms which are related to the internet actually staying up. Now, I would just want to bring attention to this one judgment of the Supreme Court, which is Anuradha Bhasin versus Union of India. In fact, it actually talked about the constitutionality of the internet shutdown, which had been ordered in Jammu and Kashmir itself. Now, the thing is that in that judgment, the Supreme Court had given a few directions which had to be followed whenever an internet shutdown was implemented. And one of them was that whether or not it's the least restrictive measure. Now, on this aspect of a least restrictive measure, a lot of, I would say, consultations are going on. For instance, in Manipur itself, instead of the High Court was deliberating whether they can blacklist social media websites or they can, they can ban VPNs instead of having an entire internet shutdown. In fact, even the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, that's also deliberating the selective banning of OTT apps. So there's no need for an entire internet shutdown to be implemented.
Okay. Fair point. And, many people can argue, also counter-argue. While we are seeing people getting killed because of viral posts, we are also seeing some women in Manipur perhaps a little closer to justice, again because of the internet and viral videos. So that is the other side of the story, Ranbir Singh Sharma as well. Ranbir Singh Sharma, Radhika Roy is she's making a simple point and she's making a valid point. It's not like you banning the internet and halting apps like Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp from working will halt the violence. Agar aisa hua hota to in Manipur, violence would have halted on the 4th of May itself. It didn't happen. In fact, if you know how to use social media, you would use it smartly. As an administration, you will use it smartly to quell rumors, which I never see, by the way, any administration in this country doing.
You are right, ma'am. If I understand your question, you want to say the administration has the power to stop these media rumors through their companies. Suppose if
मीडिया
I
नहीं,
am
मैं
a
सोशल
SP
मीडिया की
there
बात
or
कर रही हूँ. मीडिया रूमर फैलाएगी तो हमारे यहाँ it's a good point you make. Can I just give me 30 seconds? The fact is that the media, all of us, we won't put out anything that we hear on WhatsApp. It's important for our viewers to understand that. हम लोग ट्विटर पे कुछ भी देख के नहीं चला देते हैं. We have a string of reporters. We get a piece of information, our reporters will cross-check it. They will cross-check it from the ground. They will cross-check it from authorities. They will cross-check it from the administration. Only once we are satisfied, I'm talking about how the media works, how the mainstream media works. Once we are satisfied, it's only then that things are actually put on air. For example, I'll give you another example. Look at the pictures that you're seeing on our screens. Are you seeing any burning shots on our screens? No, you're not seeing any burning shots on our screens. Are you seeing any scenes of people with swords or with guns firing at people from a mosque or a masjid? No, you're not seeing it. You're not seeing it because we are self-censoring. We know what these pictures do. We know that they can inflame passions of both communities. Best not to put those pictures out. Yes, our screen will not look as dramatic as some other screens, but it's the responsible thing to do. Unfortunately, this responsibility is missing when it comes to social media. Social media mein, you can be an influencer, you can be anyone. You will not think once. You will see something that you think will get you likes. You will simply post it without verifying it. So don't consume your news from social media. It's dangerous. Go ahead, Mr. Ranbir Singh, the point you were making.
I agree, ma'am, ki whatever you are saying, it is the basic duty of the administrations, both DC and SP, who are staying there. They should see all these media rumors, all these videos, whether it is on Twitter or WhatsApp or Instagram. If they find something objectionable, it is their duty of the administration to talk the companies of Twitter or WhatsApp or Instagram, whichever it may be, wherever there is a platform. They have every right by the administration, by the law, to stop all these social media's videos. Now, why in NU itself or wherever it is the administration duties when on 31st onwards, these videos were viraling, instigating the people, and why they have not taken actions on these tutors, handlers, or hate handlers.
Yeah, that's the failure.
Which were spreading the, I mean to say, hate speeches and hate things in whole of the both of the communities. Here I do agree with you. They have the right, they have the power to stop from through the companies. Please, these videos should not be allowed in the public platform. Why it was used, and if used,
so, Mr.
then why
Khattar,
it was not stopped by the administration? Yes,
correct, correct. So essentially, Mr. Khattar has gone on record and held a full press conference, and it says that social media sparked these riots. They have sparked these riots, but what has also sparked these riots is your complacency. The air was thick with anticipation for these riots. It was so thick you could cut it with a knife. And yet, the Haryana administration didn't react to these rumors that were viral on social media. That was their failing, that was their falling, and the blame squarely lies on their door. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much for joining us. Piyush Kulukshetra, good to have you on the show. Radhika Roy, thank you very much. And Ranveer Singh, thank you very much for joining us as well. With that, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. Coming up next, we have something that is that's very interesting that has happened in Parliament just, say, 15 minutes ago. The Delhi Services Bill has now been passed in the Lok Sabha. A lot went before that passage could happen. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Do stay with us.